gonna make a quick video on how I set up my dies here. I had a friend of mine that was asking about setting these up, and it's not that difficult. And I actually make me some little cheater devices, some dummy rounds. So what we're going to need, you'll need your press, obviously your dies, your shell holder. You will need a couple of cases for the caliber you're going to load, and then you will need a projectile. So what we'll do, there'll actually be 2 dummy rounds. There'll be one that we'll create, and then we can use that one in the future to set one die, or set your crimp anyway, and then the other one to be able to set your overall length. So when we'll get done, we'll have essentially these 2 dummy rounds. Alright, so let's get started. The first thing is we've got to put our sizing die in, and the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to back up on your adjustments, however it is. Let me get this where you can see in there you've got your expander. Now I have the D-PEC capping pin out. As you can see, there's a hole there. Normally there'll be a pin. Okay, the way that I set this is I run it down, and I do a lot of neck sizing, so honestly this is actually a small base sizing die. So what I do is I actually use it to just size the base. So that's why that was backed out so far on this particular die. So that's about where you want it. I don't know, 1/4 of an inch at most, 1/8 of an inch up in there. Your pin, of course, will extrude just a little bit, and the reasoning for that is your pin needs to, this needs to be low enough, and the pin needs to be low enough, not so low that it hangs on the base of the case when you run the ram up, but it needs to be low enough that that pin will actually go through will actually go through the flash hole. Okay, I'll actually push the primer all the way out. So the first step, obviously, is to put this die in. We're going to start screwing it down. We'll just screw it down by hand. And I'm not going to move the camera angle. I'm sure you probably know what I'm talking about when I say you need to put the ram in the up position. So make sure your shell holder is on the ram. Notice I'm bringing the handle back. Put it in the up position. What you want is you want to screw this in until it catches tension. Okay, and then I usually go anywhere, usually about 1/4 of a turn, maybe more. And sometimes you have to lift on the handle just a hair to get that. Okay, so there I am. And the reasoning for that is you want that cam over. Okay, some presses, especially in this, you've got a little bit of slack in this head, whatever the case may be. You want that handle to cam over. You want to get the full force of that ram. Okay. In this particular case, for dealing with dummy rounds, all I did was size these and then chamfer and deburr a little bit to clean it up. That's it. Not concerned about obviously a primer. Not concerned about putting powder in there. These are going to be dummy rounds, strictly used for setting the seating die up here. Okay, this is what seats your projectile and also crimps the cartridge if that's something you want, is a crimp. Okay, so now what we're going to do is get this seating and crimp die set up. This one may be a little different than yours. Notice this one has a stem for the seater, and it's got a lock nut for that. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to look up under your, this is what I do anyway, I want to look up under my my press, okay, and at which point the threads just barely start to show. Okay, on the bottom side, that's where I want to stop screwing it in. Okay, and normally you would lock this tier down, but we're not going to be too concerned with it now because we're just making dummy rounds. Okay, your seating stem here, you want to back that out. Doesn't have to come all the way, but you certainly want to back it out, you know, a decent amount. Then you're going to put your projectile in your case, put that on the ram, and slowly start running that up into the die. Okay, and you're just going to go several turns at a time. That's how you're going to take it, just several at a time, several at a time. back your ram up, twist it down a little more, and you can eyeball it to a certain extent. Once it starts getting close to where you think you want it, at that point you're going to want to break out your calipers. I use a dial caliper like so, and you're going to want to set that to your overall length that you're looking for. In this case, the overall length I'm looking for is 2.80, which is right 0.80, 0.1, 2.5, 8, and 0. There it is. Notice, probably can't see it, but we got 2, 8, and then we're at 0. So as you start coming in, you'll check your length, and we've still got to come down even some more on it. Don't want to go too far. If you go too far, you're looking at getting a bullet puller. So now this should slightly go in. Like so. And I've got my proper length. Okay, so from now on, this will be, and I'll show you how you do it here in just a second, this will be the dummy round for setting your seating depth. Okay, and you can write with a Sharpie on it, put it in a bag to note it, whatever. Okay, so we've got that set, or got that built rather. So now we go to the other case we had. Okay, we're going to back all up. Basically, we're going to start over. What it's going to amount to. Okay, like so. We'll put this case in the ram, or in the shell holder, run the ram all the way up. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to turn the body down. This time, unlike before, instead of watching where it's positioned underneath, what we're going to do is we're going to start running it around until it catches tension. Okay, the idea here is the ram's all the way up. When it's catching tension, it's touching that case mouth. Okay, the amount you turn further once you get that tension is how much of a crimp you get. I'm stuck on a quarter. I usually run, you know, between an 1/8 and a quarter turn whenever I do things. So we're going to lift up on it just a hair. We're going to turn it just a hair, and that will be set up for our crimp. At this point, if we were loading, we would lock this down. Okay, now bring the ram back down, remove that, and remember our dummy we built. Okay, this is proper length right here. That's the overall length we're looking for. We're going to put that in there. We're going to run it up. Okay, now when we run this down, okay, this pin, move the camera just a hair so we can get that pin in there. This pin, okay, when we run it down, it will stop at the top of that projectile. And there it is. Then we'll lock this, you'll lock this down, okay? Now, all subsequent rounds that you run from this point forward, you will essentially put the projectile in a case, you will throw it in the shell holder, you'll run it up, and then this die will crimp and seat at the proper depth every time. Now, you're going to get some that's off here and there. Yes, you are. So, like every reloader will tell you, use your calipers, use your scales if you're throwing powder, whatever the case may be. Check, double check, and triple check. Okay, you don't have to check every round, but you certainly want to check every 2 or 3. If you're loading some precision ammo and you want to be really precise with it, then you're going to want to check it every single round. You want every one of them to be spot on. So that's it, guys. That's how I set up my dies. Like I said, I do my dummy rounds that I always make. Make the one that handles setting the crimping real fast, and then one that handles setting the cedar stem real fast. Of course, we've went through the sizing die on that. And that's pretty much all it is for rifle. Pistol, you've got one added step in between. Other than that, it's all pretty much the same as well. The added step in between, you have an expander die or a case mouth flaring die that kind of opens up the mouth of the case on straight wall pistol cartridges just a little bit. That is kind of a no-brainer on that, and depending on the projectile you use, the settings on that's going to vary. Until next time, guys, if you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments. I will get to those. We would appreciate it if you would like and share and subscribe, and also look us up on Facebook under Clover Tack, as well as East Texas Outdoor Network.